Hi, okay, so on the last video, we talked about how to sort of avoid certain interactions or how to see and understand how others may be feeling anxious and how to keep your anxiety back too. And now I want to talk more about two specific things, two very simple ways to reduce your stress and anxiety throughout the day. When we talk about reduction, we're not necessarily talking about full term solutions or long term solutions. We really are just talking about the here and now. So I really want you to be aware of that and the purpose of these two things we're going to talk about. So the first one is that we live in a day and age that I think is fantastic. I mean, we have all these social media programs. We have, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, WhatsApp, there's so many things where you can share information with people. However, there's also a negative side to that. And the negative side is that often we are flooded with misinformation, or maybe it's accurate information, but maybe you shouldn't be looking at it every 5 minutes. If you think about what that does to you, that increases your stress levels. If you're looking at it every 5 minutes, every 30 seconds, you're not doing yourself any favors, either physically or mentally. Stress is proven to be a huge factor in a decreased or weakened immune system. Again, if you're the happiest person in the world, that does not mean you don't get sick, right? But stress is a huge factor. So if you can keep your stress levels down by prevention, by trying to stay away a little bit from social media and just seeing it a few times a day, or reminding yourself that, okay, there's a lot going on out there, but I'm doing the best I can, so I'm going to put the phone away for a little bit, then that could make a big difference for you to reduce your stress or to prevent the stress from getting too high. If you're finding yourself in a moment where your crisis levels are too high, where your stress level is too high, then you might want to try what we call breathing, right? And this one always makes me laugh a little bit in sessions with my clients because sometimes they say, but I breathe and I breathe and then I get anxious because I can't breathe right. And that the reason for that is because sometimes we start trying to attempt deep breathing when we are in full crisis mode. And really, we have to start learning how to do that and how to practice that before we hit a crisis. If you think about a soccer team, soccer players don't just go out into the field and start playing. They have been practicing for months. They have been practicing the drills over and over again. They've been practicing so that their mind and their body is prepared for the game. Because on game day, their stress levels go up too. So they want to be able to just do it like it's second nature. It's the exact same concept for you at home. If you start to try to practice breathing while you're in crisis, it probably won't do much. You haven't been practicing it. But what better time to practice, right? We're self-quarantining, we're staying home as much as possible. We have a little bit more time on our hands now. So I would suggest to try to learn to do what we call diaphragmatic breathing or deep breathing in your home whenever you're bored, whenever you have some time to yourself, and practice it as much as you can so that if you reach a point where you feel your stress levels way high or your anxiety levels way up, you know how to implement that. Another thing that's really important is that we want to make sure we're not doing shallow breathing. So shallow breathing starts here from the chest upwards, right? And that's okay normally, but if we're talking about trying to bring you back down to earth, bring you back to a lower stress level, then you want to do deep breathing and it starts in your belly, right? So that means that when you inhale, you really want to feel that belly push outwards, almost like a little bit of a pregnant belly. You really want to see it go out because that means that you're using all of those muscles and getting those engaged. When you exhale, you also want to be able to relax your muscles on the way down. The more you do that, the more aware you become of your own body, the more aware you become of how the stress hormones are affecting you, and the more present you can be for yourself and for your family as well. So we have two things. One is prevention, so try to stay away from social media if it's not helping you. And the second one is, a short-term solution, and it's just to bring you down from a very high stress level. So it's two things that we went over, and for the next video, I really want to talk about something we try in therapy, which is what we call thought reframing. It's a little bit deeper and a little bit more complex, but it does offer more long-term solutions.